everybody. Okay. Oops. Let's do this. Okay. Anybody have any wants and needs? What do you need, something else? You what? Oh, I did. I just grabbed everything on the finger. Sorry. There you go. You got it?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, good. Okay. Anybody have any wants and needs, any gratitudes, anything they want to talk about today? New listings, new buyers, anything? Go right ahead. Nothing? Nothing?
I have a gratitude. I am so grateful for my clients. They're just like, they trust my direction and I just love it. When I say, this is what we gotta do, and this is where we're gonna start, and then we're gonna go with it, and then they're just like, oh my gosh, I don't know if this is the right decision, whatever, and then we just walk it through. So I'm super grateful for my clients. Just, I love them. These are tough times and I'm so grateful that I get to be here with them.
That's such a great gratitude. Thanks for sharing that. And that's such a good feeling, huh, when your clients totally trust you. Oh my gosh, I love that.
I have one. I just love that I can post a need on the Presidio family-wide Facebook page. And literally within an hour, it's met or answered. And I just love that everyone takes the time to help each other.
Thank you so much for saying that. I love it too. I freaking love how everybody has such a great culture here and really does want to help. One thing, because we have such a big family at this point, if your post doesn't get any comments, like if you say, can someone help me open a door, go back and like it, or go back and comment and say, pretty please, or something, because it'll keep it up front, okay? Because sometimes I go scroll through and I'm like, oh, shoot, yesterday someone asked for help and nobody helped her. And I think it just gets lost sometimes, so. Cool, thank you for saying that, Sherilyn. Anybody else got anything? Buyers, sellers, needs, anything? Anybody online? Okay, all right, we are gonna move forward. Let's talk about the broker moment. It is 5 business days after you close a property or change any sort of status that it has to be updated on the MLS. A lot of people ask us that because they forget. If they forget to change it to sold status. Now here at Presidio, we won't pay you until you change it to sold status, so you do it quickly. But if you forget to change to under contract status or something like that, you can be fined. So we want to make sure you remember that it's 5 days. And so if you have a listing and a buyer's agent says, why don't you change it? Why don't you change it? You still have 5 days. You can say, I got 5 days. That's the MLS rules. However, you might want to change it just so you, for your own sanity, so you don't have lots of calls and things like that. So everyone got it?
Got it.
Good. Okay, here's our upcoming classes. Looks like another 4-hour CE this week. So if you need CE, please hop on. Next week, sorry, I meant it's next week. Chrissy Sudar is teaching our sales meeting next week, and she is a newer agent here at Presidio, and she does a lot of like energy work and stuff. So this thing, supercharging your goals, is like from the mental out. So you'll love it. She's amazing. Okay, so be here next Wednesday. Okay. Here are the closers for the week, February 23rd through the 1st. Congratulations to everybody. Gosh, that was a big week, huh? 59, holy moly. Yeah, for sure.
Crystal ×2.
Crystal too.
Look at
Good job.
Darcy, 5. I got out of my game.
That's amazing. Good job, you guys. Everybody, I'm so proud of you all. Sherry Lynn's on there. Let's see. I hate when I try to do this and then I forget somebody. So if you see your name up there, tell me. There's so many I can barely see.
Great job, guys. That's awesome.
Yeah, well done,
We
you guys.
even got a couple of new ones on there.
New ones, what?
Is this Regina's first? Maybe, I think so.
Regina Morrow?
No.
She's a superstar. Okay, let's get moving on. Oh, announcements. We are gonna do this like just up at the U. It's quite a drive from here. I hate how far it is, but we'd love to have anybody there. So they have this new like Ken Garf section that has like a 5-star Michelin chef there. And so we're not going to sit down and eat dinner, but they will get us some like appetizers and stuff, and there'll be drinks and it'll be just like a cool atmosphere. Tony Reese has kind of lined this up for us. So you guys are welcome to be there. It's March 24th. It's from 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. We'd love to see you there if you want to be there, but no need. If you're like, I hate that drive, I'm not going. I get it. Okay. All right. Let's go through our preferred affiliates. Amy is online. So Amy at White Knight, please take a few seconds.
Thanks, Jen. I recently got an email from an agent that asked me if
they said they had a client that was purchasing a home that had some water damage, and would that be something that they could claim on their insurance? The answer is technically yes, but I highly recommend not doing that. If you have a client that is purchasing a home that has some water damage, really and honestly, you should have that fixed before. You can claim it on the insurance, but that's just an extra claim that would go on their insurance that they really don't need to have on there. And insurance, believe it is for these type of things. But however, insurance only likes you to have a claim about every 5 years on a home. Anything above that, it throws up red flags, and it can be difficult to get a good premium or even find a carrier that will do anything above that. That's a new business to them. So keep that in mind when you are looking at homes with your clients.
Awesome. Thank you, Amy. And also we have Paul Wynn here because all he does is win, win, win from Lunetta.
There you go, I appreciate
Come on in,
that.
Paul. Sorry, I had their name wrong on the list.
Oh, you're
That's why I
okay.
took it off.
We're all part of the same team.
Yeah.
I just wanted to say thank you for letting us come here and be part of your group every week. And it's been really great to meet a lot of you out there. I'm still looking forward to meet more and more of you every day. Just want to share with you a couple things about different loan products, and one specifically about government loans like FHA, USDA, VA loans. Rates are usually just rates, but you have to keep in mind also a wholesale broker like Lunetta compared to like a retail broker, they're not the same because they have some different guidelines. And so I had an agent bring me a client who's going with another lender, and as they got towards the middle of the about 12 days before the close, the lender came back and said, hey, we need to go and do a second appraisal or charge you for a second appraisal because they have a property in down south that they're going to hang on to and use it as a rental property, and they're going to charge them for an appraisal to go back and appraise that property too, even though they have leases on that covered the mortgage pretty easily. And so they didn't understand that if it's an FHA loan, FHA requires that whether you have a contract or a lease agreement on that or not. So it's two appraisals they're going to have to pay for. And so I said, well, how come you're not using conventional loan on this new property? They said, well, my lender said it's going to be a lot easier for us to get an FHA loan. Well, was it easier for the borrower or was it easier for the lender?
Good question.
It was easier for the lender because they wasn't willing to dig in and find out really what they could do to give them qualifications and just give them the best options. And so I said, well, what's your interest rate? It said, oh, it's 4.25. I said, 4.25 for an FHA? Government loans are typically a lot lower than like a conventional rate. And I was able to give them, I was able to qualify them as a conventional loan, which waived that second appraisal. And also, typically, when you're working with a retail lender, their government loans are just the same interest rate as it is as a conventional interest rate. And so with Lunetta, because we're wholesale, our government rates are usually as much as 0.75% lower than the conventional rate. And so there's an FHA loan at 4.25. There's a funding fee. It was just a really, really bad loan for the borrower. I was able to get to the conventional rate with no mortgage insurance, no appraisal, because that was waived as well, even on their new house. And with the cost they was going to be spending to even get that rate on FHA, was able to take $2,000, even buy their rate down to 4% on a conventional loan. So just remember, you want to make sure you're getting the best loan, best type of loan for your borrower, instead of just the easiest path for the borrower or for the borrower's potential lender. So anyways, just come talk to us. We'll definitely dig in. We'll do everything we need to do to make sure we find them the best loan for their situation.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Paul. That's a really good point. I mean, does everybody kind of feel like sometimes when you're submitting offers, like a FHA feels a little bit like a handicap? I kind of feel like that too. So if you had a lender that was willing to dig in like that and say, hey, let's see if we can't qualify you for conventional, because conventional to a listing agent looks a lot better, doesn't it?
Especially on an older home.
I know. Absolutely. So thank you, Paul. That's a great example. All right. And then we have Stacey Douglas here with US Title. Do you want to come up for a couple seconds?
Oh my goodness, well, yes,
Yeah,
thank you so
for
much.
sure.
I appreciate
Hey,
that. I wasn't planning on
When your
that.
besties of mine, you get.
Couple things. So I know you're gonna be talking about salaries, which is really good, because right now, some of the things that we're seeing on the title side of things is that you have a lot of sellers that are staying in their properties for a couple of months. The one thing that you need to keep in mind and advise them is that they need to make sure that they're changing their insurance. And as such, because as a homeowner, they have homeowners insurance, and I'm sure your insurance lady can attest to this. They have their regular homeowners insurance, but the minute that they sell that property and they are now occupying it, they're considered tenants. And so they need to make sure that they're getting the necessary insurance as a tenant. And then the new buyer needs to make sure they're adding an endorsement onto their insurance as now a landlord. Because what's happening is that they're not getting that done. And if something happens to the home, I've had a situation like this just recently, a few months ago, where they never changed the insurance. Well, the stove caught on fire because of grease, and guess what? The homeowner's insurance didn't cover it, and neither did the new buyers. And so the sellers had to go in and cover the cost of it and pay it out. And so if they would have had the necessary insurance in place, which is really easy to do, they would have had that covered and they would never had a problem. And so just make sure that you're advising your people accurately on that. It's not a title thing, but it's just something that I know is happening quite often. And people are not advising their people on the necessary insurance that they need, and not that that's your job, but it's just something more added value to keep in mind for your people. And then also, as far as our open house, we have our open house that we're doing this year. It's been 2 years since we've done this because of COVID, so we're
Yay,
super
it's back.
excited. So we do a big St. Patrick's party. We do Irish tacos. So if you've never had an Irish taco, you need to come and check it out because it is delicious. And we have so much fun. Whether you use US Title or not, we just want you to think of us as a resource. I know people have relationships, and I certainly respect those, but just know that we're a great resource. We're very educated. Our team, our staff is very educated. And so any one of our employees, my employees, can certainly help you answer any questions that you have. So thank you. Thank you so much.
That's such a great tip.
Going to the taco party. Yes, there is.
Yeah, for sure.
Years ago when I met Jennifer.
I was gonna say, I met you
there.
And that's such a great tip, Stacy. We tend to forget those things when someone's staying in the property. So thank you so much. Appreciate that. Hey, you guys, we're gonna get started on the class today, taking a seller from A to Z. This is specifically focusing on the listing presentation. And I know Steve Perry talked a little bit about that last week, but we're gonna specifically dive into that. So how many of you have gotten a listing in the last month? Okay, good. And how hard was it to get the listing?
Not that hard.
Okay. Anyone?
A little hard.
Anyone been to a listing presentation this last month?
I went to one yesterday.
Okay. And how hard was that?
The seller is, I think it's really important to understand your personality types.
Totally.
But he was highly analytical, highly detail oriented, and had a long list of questions. But I actually appreciated that.
That's really good. Have you been to our personality style class?
I've done it in the past other places.
Okay, good. All right, good. Yeah, it's really important to us. We teach it every 12 weeks. So we want you to know, well, actually faster than that, every 6 weeks, because he does it 2 times a week. But if you want to learn personality types, and that is crucial. So good point. But how about you, Audrey? You almost have a listing appointment. You do.
I'm so proud of you. Stop it.
No, so yeah, I went last week, and he said they hope to be ready in about a week or so.
Okay.
But I was kind of nervous because I've only met him once before, and then we just stayed in contact, and I was helping him with land. Well, I knew he was very analytical and just, and so I was like, okay, what is he gonna ask me? And is he gonna put me on the spot? What kind of presentation should I have? Because some sellers are okay with just casual, let's just talk about it, or spreadsheets. So I came with both.
Good
So I
job.
was like, okay, I was trying to fill them out.
For
and
sure.
I realized it was kind of a hybrid of the two.
Yeah.
But
That's perfect. I love that you even brought that up because we're going to go through a little bit of that today. And Amy, you said you had somebody kind of talking to you about like a list price recently. I mean, a commission structure.
Yes,
Yeah.
I went to a listing interview and we sat down, we started talking, and they're like, well, how much would you list my house for? And I said, well, I need to see it, more and that kind of stuff. But I want to talk about these other things first. And we got talking about commission. He's like, well, I'm only going to pay you 1%.
Yep.
And I said, well, then I think you're going to pay a different realtor 1% because I don't
Good for
ask
you.
for 1%.
Good for you.
I don't have a nice personality.
No, that's perfect.
so he kind of looked at me and I said, well, I'm not gonna waste your time. I said, if you wanna pay more, then we can continue. And he just kind of looked at me stunned and I left, like, he didn't say
Sure.
another word.
Sure.
And that was the end of that.
did you buy that backbone at?
Huh?
That's awesome.
Oh,
I
said,
do
I'm
love
from
that.
Maryland, we're not nice.
Well, and in this market, we have to have a backbone. So I'm proud of you for that. We're going to cover things like that today too. So I'm glad.
Maybe you can teach me to be a little nicer about it, but I don't have patience.
Well, I'm proud of you.
Huh?
He hasn't called you.
No, I
Since
haven't.
you walked away.
But I want to focus here on every one of you brought up objections already, right? So I want you to change your thought process from it's a listing presentation to an objection presentation. And are you prepped? Do you have all your graphs, charts, everything for every objection that comes up? Are you? Okay, so that's how I want you to look at it rather than who's he going to be? How's he going to talk? You know, that type of thing. Okay, so let's move into, swear that's the button that goes forward. Clearly not. Okay. What is happening? Okay, all right. So let's talk about getting the appointment. So I want you to set yourself apart from the beginning. And right now, I think we have 20,000 realtors in Utah County. Is that right? Or the whole state, or Utah and Salt Lake?
Yeah.
I think it's Utah and Salt Lake.
So there's like 3,300 in Utah Central Association. So I don't know Salt Lake Board, how many they.
Okay,
have.
I don't know. It's what my point is, it's inundated. When I was on the board last year, we had 10,000 new agents come into the market. So there's so many agents, the piece of pie has gotten a lot smaller. Has anyone, you don't have to raise your hands, but felt like your business is slowing down a little bit right now? Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
Me too. Because there's more agents out there. There's people that are just using their friends or family that are going to give them a huge discount, Amy, and things like that. And so we have to learn how to be prepared for all those objections right now. Okay. So how do you set yourself apart? Does anyone want to share one or two ideas of how you set yourself apart from the beginning before they even call you for a listing presentation? And I can't see anyone online. So if you have a thought, please unmute yourself and tell us. Nobody sets themselves apart. Well, this is why your business is slow. Okay, thank you.
I don't set myself, I don't know how I set myself apart, but Crystal does. Like when I know she would never say that, but she does. She has.
Actually, everybody in here does. I've seen it. They do a really good job.
Well, I follow Crystal. so.
Yeah, for sure.
I follow other people's else.
So, she's so, brave, I guess.
Mhm.
For me, that's like so scary to put myself out there. And I love the way that she does it. And she has such a cute, unique way to do it.
For sure.
And it's different.
For
Nobody
sure.
else is a high school realtor. and
Right.
that's
See,
awesome.
told you. Okay,
I
good.
tried.
So, let's just kind of talk, here's a couple ideas that I threw on here, but like, you have to have a value proposition or a compelling offer for someone to even pick up the phone and call you, right? So what are you portraying online? What are you portraying on your social media? Are you portraying that you're doing business?
Yes.
And how do you do that if you're actually not doing business?
Well, I know you hate the phrase fake it till you make it, but honestly.
I don't hate it, I love it.
You just have to, because you may not be writing contracts or taking listing appointments every single day, but is your mind on real estate every single day? Then you're in the business every single day.
Yeah.
Therefore, you have to make your social presence known. Like, yeah, you could ask me about real estate on the spot. I'm here to help you. And people like, they forget about it for a while. And then like, a year or two later, they're like, oh yeah, oh my gosh, you are killing it in real estate. You're doing so good.
Yeah, people
And
believe
really,
what they
I haven't
see.
closed a deal in 2 months, but they don't know that.
Yeah.
They just know that I'm happy at my job. most
Does anyone
days.
remember in the short sale era when there was a billboard that said I'm the short sale specialist? Like
Yes.
the number one short sale specialist. Do you believe that guy was number one? No, but he was telling that story, right? And people believe what they see. So what are you putting out on social media? What are you putting out to your clients that you are in the business and working? Yes, Vanette.
One thing I don't think we take advantage of enough is using Chelsea does amazing flyers.
Amazing.
Every single month.
And graphics for your social
And
media.
graphics. And how easy it is to grab it and throw it in Canva and put your picture
Mhm.
and your contact info
Yeah.
on it and utilize what someone else has already done.
Yeah. Thank you for reminding everybody about that.
Hey, Jen.
Yes.
Hey, it's Kim here.
Hi.
I was just seeing also on that value, when you're trying to give them value, I ask them to tell me their story first, like why they're moving and listen to their concerns and find out what they really like, what's really keeping them up at night. And then I try and offer a speak to that. So like if the packing part is really overwhelming the wife or whatever, then in this market right now, I offer free boxes, or I offer to pay for the moving truck, or I offer to send cleaners and pay for professional cleaners when they move out to relieve whatever will help relieve the stress. Or obviously we all have different talents, but I will offer, if they're paying my commission, that I will come in addition to what another agent would offer and help organize or declutter their closets or walk through and give them that consultation when it comes to staging. So just different things that we can all get creative about and
I
setting
love
ourselves
that
apart.
stuff. And that's perfect, Kimberly. Those are the things that I really wanted to focus on here, is little, like the extra values that you can propose when you're someone saying, hey, I was thinking about listing my house, but I'm interviewing a few people. Well, those are things you can say immediately on the phone to make them go, gosh, she's valuable, right? So good job, Kimberly. So yeah, if you can't find business, if you don't have business right now, you could literally take a picture of the front of a house that is on the market, say, look at this beautiful house that's on the market. I can't wait to show my clients. What does that remind people? You're a realtor, you're in the business, right? So I want you to remember to fake it till you make it, put it out there. And then, because a lot of people want to work with people that are in the business working, right? Yeah.
Can I add one more thing? I love using agents and they office their listings. And when I didn't have business, I called Crystal who had a listing, and Draper said, hey, can I just invite a bunch of friends and can we go walk through the house that you just listed? She's like, sure.
That's perfect.
So we went to dinner. It was like a girls' night. We met.
Yeah.
And then we walked through this amazing house.
I love that.
Listed,
See,
we
and
had
you
so much
reminded
fun.
all your friends, I'm a realtor. Watch, I can get into this key box, right? Okay, good job. Okay, so the easy exit clause, we kind of talked about that a couple weeks ago when I taught. Do you guys remember what that is?
That's awesome.
It's like the catch-22 that says, oh, don't worry about putting your house on the market today. I'm one of the only realtors that knows this trick. We have a subject to the seller finding a property form that I will make any buyer sell, and I will market it that way. The seller still needs to find a property. So if you want to write an offer on our house, just know we're going to ask for up to whatever it is, 3 months, 6 months to find a house. Okay. You see that value that you give to a seller that's so nervous in this market. So easy out clause is one of them. The on time, I'll always be on time. I'll always be honest with you. If I missed your call, I'll call you back within 10 minutes. Those are things that you can guarantee that are just value propositions from the very beginning. This is who I am as a realtor, okay? The net sheet, the catch-22 is there, but the net sheets too. Does anyone do net sheets at their listing presentations? Good, okay. I would never do a listing presentation without doing a net sheet. I don't care if they don't ask me. They want to know that number. They want to know, well, what are we walking away with? Because in their mind, some people don't do math quick. Like I don't, I write it all out. So we'll talk about that. I've got a marketing plan that will get you the desired outcome faster and easier while netting you more than any other option. Do you see that positioning statement? Also, 80% of communication is nonverbal. So confidence is a key when you go in. So if you're looking like this, or, like this in your presentation, your listing presentation, they're not going to think you're confident enough to sell their home. So go in. I always use the term calm strength, go in with calm strength. Okay. Go in, sit down, ask questions, that type of thing. But that proves that you're confident, you know your stuff, but you're not egotistical. You don't walk in and go, I sold 3 houses in this neighborhood. And, that's just like, they're like, who cares? We want to know about us and our house. Okay. Any questions or thoughts? Okay. All right. So at the listing presentation, kind of like what Kimberly said, the presentation is about them, not about you. Now, I do think you should mention a few things about you, but do not make the whole thing about you. Can you imagine someone showing up to a listing presentation and going, okay, I'm the top realtor in Utah. I got the realtor of the year. I got this, I got that. And people are going, I don't care. Like, that's just sell my house. So don't go in with that mentality of, let me see if I can make this even smaller. There we go. Of it's about you. It is not about you. It's about them. So go in, ask lots of questions, listen to their needs, like Kimberly said, and repeat them back in your presentation. So when they're talking to you and they say, well, we need to move fast because this, repeat it back. Okay, so we're going to get you out of here quickly. And here's how we're going to do it, because you need to move fast. Okay, so do you see how I repeated back exactly what they said to me? mirror their behavior. So if they're sitting back like this, sit back a little bit, but you don't have to fold your arms, okay? Sit back, mirror how they're communicating with you because they're wanting some space. If you're up in their business, then they don't feel comfortable with you. If you're like, let me tell you something. So you just mirror what they're doing, okay? But not closed off mirror, but just kind of like if they're lean back, you lean back, okay? And that will help their cells walls come down to if you non-verbally prove to them this is a safe space. Don't talk too fast. That's a problem I have. But again, that's that phrase, calm strength. Go in with calm strength, okay? But remember, you're the heart surgeon. This is something that I think realtors always forget. We have the license. Does everyone in Utah think they can sell their house without a realtor?
Yep.
Everyone does. There's probably not one person that doesn't think that way. So everyone thinks they can do it without them, but we know the market. This is why myself as a competing broker is good for my agents. I am on the front lines with you. I know what the changes are happening. You guys do too. You know what's happening in the market. You know how to write an offer right now. We all know you can't ask for closing costs, right? Does the seller know that? No. So go in, prove that you know your business, prove that they can trust you confidently, and don't talk too tough. No, don't talk too fast, but know your stuff, okay?
I have a,
Yeah.
so I speak really slow. I'm from Texas. So my speech pattern is much slower than the local speech pattern. And so I've had to do the opposite. I've had to speed up where I don't sound stupid. No, really, like,
yeah.
no, really, but I talk naturally, just my natural speech pattern is very slow. So I have to always be pushing it faster. And so I try to mirror their speech pattern.
Perfect.
And usually I'm having to talk much faster than is comfortable for me.
Yeah, well, I actually think that your slower speech shows that calm strength and really does show that confidence. So don't overthink that, but I'm glad you're being cognizant of how the sellers know your audience. Like Audrey was talking about, when you're there, be prepared for all scenarios, but also, kind of gauge the situation like, oh, he doesn't want those numbers. So now I'm going to show him this. Okay. So that's perfect. All right. So don't consult. So I don't want you to give a price until they agree that you're the right consultant. Okay. So we're going to go through the steps of the listing presentation. And there's so many ways to do this. I'm not saying this is 100% the only way you should do it. I'm just showing you how I do mine. Okay. Okay, so there are 5 chapters to a perfect listing presentation. The intro, which should only take about 5 minutes. Tell them what you're going to tell them and use positioning statements. So the intro is where I'm asking questions. Okay, I'm saying, so tell me what your situation is. Where are you going? What, that type of thing. Because sometimes at listing presentations, we don't know a lot of that, right? So you want to know those questions. And what else comes from you asking them questions? They feel like you're invested. They feel like you care about them. Okay. Because imagine someone could go in and just go, okay, what do you want to list it at? Yeah, we could list it at that, but that's not at all trying to understand the person and their actual needs. So ask a lot of questions in the first intro and kind of, like Steve Perry said, walk through the home with them, that type of thing. You can ask questions about the house, whatever it is, but we'll figure out when's the right time to do that. So tell them what you're going to do, what you're going to tell them. So tell them essentially like, okay, well, let me just sit down and talk to you about my marketing plan and what we can do to get your house sold. But again, I'm mirroring what they said to me. So if they said something like, we just want top dollar. That's really what we want to get the best price out of this market. We know it's a seller's market. Great. Okay. Let me sit down and I'm going to talk to you about how we're going to get you best price out of the market. Okay. Okay. And then, and some of the benefits, and let me talk to you about why you're going to want to list with me and why you're going to want to choose me and my company to represent you in this market. Okay. So do you see how you're giving a benefit, but you're not telling them the actual story yet? Does that make sense? And then you go into the education part of it. It's the meat of the presentation. It's 50 to 70% of it. And then you'll do a soft close, and we'll explain to you in a minute what that means. But that's the sole purpose is to get them to opt in the middle of the presentation. Okay. You want to do a little of these check-ins of where you're going. If they already are like, because what do they say? How quickly does someone make a decision on someone else? Within 5 seconds. So if you don't have something that makes them change their mind, if they already are like, nope, don't like her, don't like him, I'm out. If you don't have something in that education piece that makes them go, oh, maybe she is good, maybe he is good, then you're out. Okay. You just wasted a whole hour at a listing presentation. So you'll have this soft close to check in where they're at, and then you'll discuss the price and the fee, okay? And then you'll have a strong close. So those are the 5. So we're gonna go into them. So the intro, okay, Mr. Seller, I'm gonna go through the marketing that you are going to need to attract the right buyer to your home. See that positioning statement? Know that I know that you are trying to move closer to your work. So this is a repeating back. You know, you're trying to move closer to your work and hoping to save money on gas positioning. Okay. So again, repeat back some of the things they said. They feel like you listened. If you were so nervous and didn't listen to them, they're going to know that. So listen. Okay. We will be able to achieve your desired outcome quickly and as quickly as possible while netting you the highest amount. Do you see that positioning statement? You're already telling them what they want to hear. They want to hear you're going to do the very best possible. You're going to sell it quickly and you're going to get them the highest net possible. Okay. And then we both will make a decision. So this goes back to where Amy's conversation had. She made a decision before the seller made a decision, right? Yeah. But you want to put yourself in a position to say, then we'll both make a decision if we want to move forward or not. Why do you want to do that?
In case you don't want to work with them.
Totally, just like Amy had. In case they are way overpriced. How many of us really want to take a way overpriced listing? We could talk about Sadie with a really hard seller she has right now. It's a nightmare, right, Sadie? Yeah. To try and get him to come down after she's already listed it. Some people are impossible. Some will, but some are impossible. So then you're spending your time, your money, your marketing dollars, and they're going, nope, she knows what the comps are. And yet she's presented to them over and over and over and over. And he's going, nope, I'll find someone that'll pay my price. That's kind of the market right now. Don't you think? Sellers think that they can get anything and everything. So you want to be able to decide whether you want to work with them.
So I've had that issue before. And usually if they're like, no, I want to list at this price, I say, okay. But in 2 weeks, if you don't have any offers, then I would like to present you with this price and see how that goes.
That's awesome.
And usually that kind of gives them a, oh yeah, because I'm not worried in 2 weeks. And 2 weeks will come and they're usually happy to.
Yeah, I'm really glad you set it up that way. I do something pretty similar. I actually have I'm sure people do this too, a price reduction already signed at the listing presentation. Because what I do, and we'll go through all this in a minute, but bring days on market average. And if it's like 15 days, and I say, well, if we don't have offers in 30, we have a major problem. So are you committed to me to lower the price? And if they aren't, then it goes back to you going, I may not want to work with you. Okay, does that make sense? Okay, any questions or thoughts? Yeah.
So for the longest time, I did not take overpriced listings. I learned, the hard way. And then we had last year, which was crazy. You could just throw out this super high-end number and it would perform. And so this fall, I took an overpriced listing thinking, well, it's not that bad,
Sure.
And it sat. And like for 2 months, I had to keep beating them up for price reductions. And it was a reminder to not do that.
Well, and don't you feel, so sellers and buyers are looking for every reason to blame the realtor why something's going wrong. So why would you put yourself in the position for them to then go, you're a bad realtor because you can't sell it at this price? Why would you ever put yourself in that position, right?
Yeah, the love affair ends quickly when that happens.
Absolutely.
And so it was a reminder because I had gotten spoiled because I'm like, yeah, let's test out. I mean, it's only, 40,000 over,
Sure.
What the comp says.
Sure.
But the market had been accepting that. And
Yeah.
It wasn't anymore.
And this kind of goes back to the education piece. So we'll get into that next because obviously we're still in the intro, but I want to remind you when you're in that education piece, why you talk to them about this price. Okay, so we're going to move forward unless anyone else has any comments or
I
thoughts.
just wanted to add something, just out of curiosity. So when you don't you think at that time too, when you're doing your net sheet and you actually say, look, when we do a price adjustment, I like to say price adjustment, but price adjustment, when they actually look at the bottom line, it's not as substantial, but they already get that in their mindset when they see 3 options of the price adjustment. That they can look at it and be like, okay, well, that's really not as bad. But then when you leave it with them and you have to go, and then you have to call them to say, okay, we're at that level now where we have to do a price adjustment. It's easier because they've already seen the numbers, they know what they're expecting. Because at the end of the day, when you say price reduction, they're going in their head, what does that look like? What is the number gonna look like? But if they see it on paper, what that could
That's a good
possibly be, you know, I've got a net sheet that does 3, so I'm happy to send it to people, but it gives 3 options.
Yeah.
Because then it lays it out, because then they can leave it with them, and then it shows them, okay, well, they're already in the mindset that could possibly happen. They know what that looks like, and it's a lot easier
Yeah,
to happen.
that's a great
Do
example.
you do it with them there because you don't know they're paid off and
Yeah.
other things you need to ask, so you actually do
You
one
do it
for
there?
them? right
A net
there?
sheet right then and there.
Yeah, like
And
that.
I always write very big on it, estimate. And I underline. Do you see, this is an estimate of probably what you could net by selling, but I don't really know what your payoff is. I don't really know. And Stacy's company does have a fantastic net sheet. So it's a spreadsheet you can do, but I just do it really quick on the back of a piece of paper and I'll show you how to do that. Okay.
Yeah, and
That's
we
fine.
used to use those, like, that's a good reminder to me, like, when we had so many short sales, you did the net sheet at the listing presentation to see if they were upside down or how much they had to bring
Sure.
to closing, and now everyone has so much equity again. I haven't personally been doing that, but I think that's a great thing to add back in.
Absolutely. Well, and also I think if you don't talk about your commissions yet, but you go into a net sheet, then all of a sudden, when you already give them a number that they're gonna net, it doesn't come off so like, wait, you're gonna charge us 6%. It's like we're gonna get 500,000 from this house. They get excited. So that's why I use the net sheet as a reason to say, look what you're gonna walk away with. Not paying attention to the commissions that I throw in there. Okay, so we're gonna move forward. Okay, so here's where we talk about the education piece of it and discussing with them how pricing is accurate. So everyone's seen this graphic of like, if you're up in the top 15% above, there's only like 10% buyers in that marketplace that are willing to pay over a appraised value or that type of thing, right? Now, right now, because there's not a lot on the market, that could be a little higher. However, do you want, Mr. Seller, do you want 10% of the buyers out there? Or do you want 30% of the buyers? Do you want 60% of the buyers? And so to open it up and have it right at market value, that's the conversation you have with them about pricing, okay? So discuss your marketing plan, step by step, and your intentions. This is something like, this is how thick my listing packets are. Like, I want to show you why I bring so much to the table. And again, I listen to what they say, and if I feel like I don't need to touch on that, I won't. But one of the things that I show them, and I think visual things are really good to have. Okay, well, it's a picture of me and this circle of all the things that I can offer as a listing agent. That's like drone photos, staging, for open houses, verified buyers, funds and stuff like that to make sure that they're solid buyers. Like, it just shows these things. And so do you see how, like, in that education piece, you're also showing them how great of a listing agent you're going to be? Because how many listing agents go in and just go, listen, it's a crazy market, so we'll put a sign out in your yard and we'll get 45 offers. But did they show any value? So what would, if you were that seller, would you be like, he's worth 3%? Probably not, right? So you have to go in and show why you're worth what before you talk about commissions, why you're worth it, okay? Talk about commodity fees and why listing with the right agent is crucial. Show them your stuff, you guys should go through all this. So I go through this seller's process. We have this in the back. Process A to Z. Why would I go through this with someone maybe that has sold before? Because they don't remember the way we remember. They have no clue. So we'll get the listing agreement signed. Why do you think that's a really good position statement to say, right? Okay, so here's the process. We'll get the listing agreement signed. You're already hinting, you're gonna sign with me. We'll get an accepted offer after I do all my marketing and we get, have some things out there, open houses. I've showed you all the marketing already. Then we'll have an appraisal deadline, then we'll have a settlement deadline. Okay, due diligence is in here too. But anyway, so you go through that process with them. And again, this is that education part. All you're doing is stacking the cards against you that you are a good listing agent. You're the one that they want to listen to. Yes, Amy?
Where can we find the resources that you're showing us in your packet?
In the back, where all these things are. Do you know where these packets are? By yourself? Okay. I usually walk everyone through and show them when they come on. So right in the storage room where the swag is, there's a stack of paper that will say seller process. And then you'll have the buyer seller packets. Yeah. Yeah.
Do you have the, you said you had a picture with all
Yeah,
of the things?
I'll go find it.
Okay.
And that's something that Chelsea can make for you. It's already there, so she can just throw your picture on.
Is that graphic you mentioned?
Oh, you know what?
I don't remember it being in the seller's packet.
No, it's not in there.
Okay.
This?
No, the graphic that's on this.
No, that's
The
not.
one is 60% market value.
Yeah, but we can get that. We'll have Chelsea make that for you guys.
Hey,
But
Jen, sorry to interrupt you, but in the chat, there's people that are also wanting a copy of that net sheet. So maybe if Chelsea could put it in chat, or I
yeah,
don't
just send it to my assistant and I'll have her send it. Okay, perfect. You got it. Thank you so much.
There is a net sheet on the Presidio back end site too.
Yeah.
It's yours that you have.
Yeah, we do have a net sheet back there too. Okay, so, and this is how I do my net sheet. So I take a piece of paper that I brought for them specifically, like I usually use this one for some strange reason, like their county records. And then I just say to them, okay, let's just do a real quick net. So what do you owe on the house? Who wants to be my seller?
I go 350,000.
You owe 350 and we're gonna sell it for what, so let's say probably 750. So you owe 350. Oops. Oh my gosh, this pen doesn't work. 350, let me get your closing costs in there. Why do I say closing costs?
I think it's important for them to know that they have closing costs, because I will tell you, so many people, sellers don't realize they have closing costs.
Right.
They don't know.
Well,
they
not
have
only
closing
that,
costs. They don't know that they have.
I don't want to use the language commission.
No.
Okay,
no.
so let me get your closing costs in here.
I like that.
And I just pull up my calculator, oops. And
What's your formula for commission plus closing
And
costs?
I would say commissions are considered closing costs, so that's fair.
They are.
I always say cost to sell.
Yeah.
Which one sounds better?
whatever you want.
Cost to sell.
Is there a formula, like 1.5% of the sales price or something?
These are the, that's what I said, these are the associated with selling the property.
And then, okay,
Is it like 1.5% of the sales price?
For as far as title stuff goes,
Yeah.
for the seller side, I'd say 1.5%.
okay, so I always do. Okay, so let me just show you really quickly. Again, this is a total estimate because I don't really know your payoff. But if we were to price it, and again, I don't even know where we're gonna price it yet because we haven't gone there. But if we're gonna price it here, and you owe 350 on it, here's your closing costs, and I can break these down for you later. But you're gonna walk away with almost $400,000, 396, 750. And again, this I estimate a little bit high because I put 1.5 on title, and sometimes it's only 1. So I estimate a little bit high, so I'd rather be safe than sorry. So this should be one of the worst case scenarios unless we don't get our list price. And we'll talk about, why we're gonna price it right, so you do. Okay, so do you see how quickly I just went over that? And sorry for people online. To kind of just show them really quickly, just a real quick net, okay? So it's 1.5 on the title fees and your commission. So if you're gonna charge 6, I put a 6% in there. They typically go, that's how much closing costs we have? Yeah, but we'll go through that and explain how to break that down, okay? So turn that over and I move on. So education piece is 50 to 60% of your presentation. Did someone have something? Okay. Any questions or thoughts online? Okay. All right, so this is when we go to the soft close. So after showing you all the marketing that I do, are you guys feeling good to move forward with me? Do you see how I'm just kind of like, you get to move forward with me? And then if you get a no, or if you get some weird, like, yeah, well, let's see, just say, well, would you like me to go back and show you what else I do that other agents don't do? And usually they say no. Okay, no worries. So then we'll move forward.
Do
Okay,
you
so,
think it's good to ask what their hesitation is?
well, sure.
I just noticed that you kind of hesitated,
For
could
sure.
you share with me.
Well, that's pretty much why you say, do you want me to go back and was I not clear with some of the stuff I was talking about?
I feel like all the listing, when it gets to that point, then it goes to, well, why do I gotta pay that much money? Like, why?
The commission, okay, yeah, don't worry.
And then
okay.
you show you the value, but they're still like, well, this is the 3rd time I've used you or something. Are you gonna discount your thing? And I hate that conversation, but it happens almost
so
every
true.
time.
It does.
People
Oh,
are
for
cheap.
sure. Especially in this market where they know they feel like they don't need a realtor. So why would I pay 6% when I don't need a realtor? Or somebody else is gonna only charge me a flat fee or whatever it is, right? So I want you to have this soft close before you show them the comps, okay? Most realtors go in and go, what do you think your house is worth? Okay, well, here's the comps. And that's what they lead with. Why? Because they're insecure about them. That's the only reason they lean on comps and the list price. I can get you top dollar, I can get you this, I can get you that. instead of all this stuff that I do for you as an agent. So if you are not confident in what you do as an agent, I want you to focus on that this week. Write down a list of all the things you bring to a seller that makes you different than other agents, okay? So before you talk about counts, now that you understand how I can market your home and get you top dollar in the desired time frame, would you agree that I'm the right consultant for you? Soft close right there. If there's hesitation, okay, well, let me go back. If not, go back to education until they do. No, but most of the time people will be like, yeah, you seem great. Okay. I know it's bugging me, sir. No,
What
good.
do you say when they're like, well, I'm interviewing 2 other realtors this afternoon?
This is what I always say. I'm so glad you're interviewing other realtors. Nobody does that in this market anymore. Good for you. So let me show you why I'm going to stand out against them. Okay, so always compliment that. Don't look at it as a fear. Don't go, oh shoot, no, don't interview anybody else. That makes you look insecure. Go, I'm so glad you're doing that. Nobody interviews other agents, but let me show you why I'm going to be the best for you.
That conversation makes all the difference. Yeah.
Absolutely.
To have all that information and then somebody else comes along and isn't prepared like that.
Absolutely,
So
totally.
you stand out just in your conversation.
Well, and it's the same thing in the industry. Like if someone were to come to Presidio, but then tell me something bad about their broker, and I was like, oh yeah, that broker's horrible. They're gonna see something wrong with me, right? Usually the first thing I say is, you know what, they have a lot of great qualities, a lot of great things. They go, oh, Jen's great, right? So it's just like that. Don't throw the competition in there. I've had people say, well, who you're interviewing? Oh, I know that guy, you know what? And they start talking bad about that person.
Oh, gosh, don't ever do
You
that
will
in
look
front of
so bad if you do things like that. So just, yeah, hold yourself high.
I was just gonna mention, I actually just talked with, I had a friend of mine that has always sold his home by himself. Always, any home, anything, he's always done it for self owner. And he called me the other day and was talking with me about it. And I was talking with him and I was saying, I think this is important. I don't know if you do this or not, but one of the things that the main thing that really sold him on him deciding that he's going to use a real estate agent was when I explained to him about what this market looked like in negotiations. Because I think right now, negotiations is huge. When you're getting 30 offers in on a property, that's a lot of having to review,
Oh, for sure.
negotiate, and go through. So if they see a plan of how you handle the negotiations, I think that's kind of a key point too to bring up. Because you guys do. I just had one of my clients, Harry Nelson, 30 offers in on a home. I mean, you guys will witness that. That's a lot of detail. That's a lot of time to go through and find out which one is the best one for your clients. I mean, I think that's worth.
That's a really good point. So during the education phase, you want to talk about all the upcoming scenarios, especially in this market. In this market, there are things that are happening where, buyers are willing to let you live in the house rent free. Like go through all of that together, but then also explain, we could get hundreds of offers. And when we do, what I tell them is, I have a spreadsheet. There's every offer so that you can look at it objectively. Because if I bring over 25 and lay them across your kitchen table, you're going to go, oh my gosh, this is so overwhelming. But when we just look at the spreadsheet and I organize it to which one I think looks best, but then obviously the seller can decide.
So much value right there. Like,
so, but everyone has access to that spreadsheet.
Do you tell your sellers when you're getting like 20 offers or something, do you cut them off and say, hey guys, we've got 20 offers that you're gonna have to go through and look at. Do you want to continue accepting offers?
Sure.
Or do you think we should cut it off at 10 p.m. tonight?
Yeah, you always
think?
remember you're the co-pilot, they're the pilot. So that's a perfect way to pose that. Like, what would you like to do? We have 20, that's plenty to go through. But if you want to keep marketing it, we can.
Yeah.
But okay, did somebody else have something else? Somebody online is clearing their throat and has something for us?
I have something.
Okay.
I would just caution about prepping your sellers and saying, hey, we're going to get all these offers. I have personally had an experience where I told the sellers, yep, and posted online, we'll do the open house, offers due this day, and we didn't get any. And then I'm in a situation right now where the listing, I'm on the buying side. Well, we submitted the offer and we are the only offer that got submitted. And so it still does happen. I just would caution about telling your sellers that, yeah, we're going to get all these offers, because there's a slight chance that you may not, even with how hot our market is.
Yeah, for sure. It's a really good point, Tyler. And that's another reason, another way why we should never say a hard and fast anything. We should always have a very neutral, like I say, hey, there's a chance we could get multiple offers. But if we don't, we have a problem with the listing price. Do you see that? I played both sides of the fence right there. And so you don't ever want it to come back to you like Tyler's saying, as you said, we have multiple offers, but you can always say, there's a chance we could in this market. Okay, perfect. Okay, let's move on. So price of the home and fee is now the next phase of the listing presentation. Okay, so show them the comps. I am a paper person. I print these all out already printed, but I print out so much paper, you guys. This whole section right here is comps and pictures of comps. Why do I do pictures of comps?
So they can see that theirs is like, or different, or has better amenities or whatever.
Because sellers know in this market, they can pretty much ask anything, or they think that, and yet their house looks like crap inside. And so I go through and go, oh, look, they remodeled that one. So how does your kitchen compare to that? Oh, this, looks like they have new carpet. Oh, they put new white cabinets, and everyone wants white cabinets. Do you see what I mean? So I do that to get them in the mind frame of like, oh, I guess our house might not be worth 500,000 more than, whatever it is. So I print out so much, and then I go through and print out actives. Why do we print out actives? See what their competition is. And again, list price. Let's go through and compare. And that's why I have this sitting right next to it.
Everybody thinks their house is worth gold. And
Well, you
so
only
that's the
have,
math,
and I add
because-
up the square footage. You only have this much, but they have 300 more than you, and they're priced at this, and you want to price higher than that?
And they've been on the market for 39 days.
Right, exactly. 34. Could you see that from there?
Oh, sorry.
So then, and you guys, as you can see, I do this and I staple it and I highlight active. So I can quickly do it upside down. Oh, here's the app under contract. Let's talk about why I'm showing the under contracts. Why do I show under contracts?
Those are just recently attracted a buyer.
We want to know what's getting offers. And then I,
Those will be the new comps for the.
exactly. But I always say to them, we have no clue what this one under contract for. So we're not going to look at the price, but we're going to look at how everything else compares to you. Okay.
But you can call every one of those listing agents and ask.
Yeah, you can ask. Who knows if they'll tell you.
I had one tell me yesterday.
Oh, that's awesome. Then I print out the solds, okay? And then I go through and have the actual CMA where I can show them compared side by side. So then I can say, well, see, it kind of says you should be here, that type of thing. But also, without fail, no matter if we're in a hot market, I print out this report. Do you guys print out this report?
What is that?
This is the days on market report, market summary report.
That's smart.
Okay, why would you want the days on market in a market where we have houses off the market within a day?
It gives them perspective and it gives them.
Don't you think a seller needs to know if they have to get ready to move in a day? They need to know that fact. Who has access to this? Nobody but realtors. How many realtors use this?
None.
Very few.
One.
Do you look like, yeah, me too. Do you look better when you show up with more information?
Yes.
Okay, so I go and I show, I highlight, this is your price point right here. You're gonna be between this price and this price, and here's your average days on market. Now remember, average is what? It could be faster, it could take longer. Are you ready to move in that much time? Always say that, okay? Don't you feel like they feel like you have an advocate when you give them this information? Not to mention, that also helps you with your pricing strategy, right?
Shows you're not just about the commission, like you're
Totally.
concerned about their needs.
Yeah, for sure. Okay, so, all right, so now we're gonna be talking about the pricing of the home and going through all those comps and everything. And I always ask first, what do you think your home's worth? Why do I ask that?
My guy had his estimate yesterday.
Yep.
He did?
Yep.
So we had that discussion.
Thank you. But you wanna be prepared for if they are way off or if you can look like a hero. Okay, because I already went knowing exactly where I think that house should be priced. I'm so confident in my CMA that if it comes in at 650 to me and they say 850, I know we have a problem. How do I start with that problem? I start to overcome that objection, right? But if they say, our neighbor sold for 625, so we were thinking like 630 because it's been 20 days since they sold that. And then I go, guess what? I think I can get you more than that. and you look like the hero. Okay, so are you ready for both scenarios? Are you ready to be the one that gives the bad news? Or are you ready to give the good news? You have to be ready for both. Okay, but you know yourself. You've already done your CMA. You're already ready. You priced that property. You're ready to go and explain why and how and that type of thing. Now, in this market, could they get 650 if it was priced at 620? There's a chance.
I have lots of questions.
Yeah.
So did you do a pre-listing, survey of some sort? Like, how do you give them a price when you have not seen the home? It's a 20-year-old home. You don't know what's been updated. You don't know the condition. You don't know if it smells. Like, how are you coming in with a range?
I
and
come
then
in
you
with a
adjust
range.
The range
Yep.
after seeing it?
Yep, I totally do. So I let the CMA tell me basic comps, right? And so I get an idea of where that's going to be. And then I go and I walk through their home with them. And if I see like carpet tearing up and walls dinged and holes and things, and it's just like smells bad, it's like, okay, you guys, let's go through these pictures of these comps. Do you see how immaculate that house is? Do you feel like your house, I always ask, do you feel like your house measures up to that house? Okay, and so I let them tell me, no, we need a lot of work. We've got things we got to do. Okay, well, do you want to work on it or do you want to lower the price and get it sold? So yeah, I come with a range ready and I go, well, that says this, but that would be if your house is in tip top shape. And I'm ready to say that right then and there. So maybe we need to price it right about here. Does that make sense? Okay. Nobody likes the word commission, like some of the language that Stacy was talking about. So use the word marketing fee. Our marketing fee is going to be this. Why? Because you're proving to them that you're doing something for that fee. We're marketing your property. Okay. Help them understand what they're paying for by using that. So, and then handle all their objections right then and there on the price. Okay. Anyone want to share how they handle price objections? Anybody have any good examples or anything?
Like when you go into a house and you say, this is how I got this, and they're like, well, we want more. Or
Yeah, no, well, price, no, just on the price of their home. So yeah, so if they want more, how do you handle that objection?
Well, if they want more money, I say, well, where did you come up with this price? And usually I've actually gotten those estimates quite a bit. And I say, okay, well, this is the circumference. How does your house, which is 2,000 square feet, compare to this multi-million-dollar house of 5,000 square feet and was just built last year? They're like, well, those shouldn't be comps. I said, but Zillow doesn't know that.
Yeah, for sure. Perfect.
And so I don't bag on Zillow at all because that's not okay.
Well, yeah, they're brokers
I
too.
think it's not a tool.
Well, yeah, I don't go the negative route. I explain, well, this is how I do it. I do it based on market research.
Yeah.
And I said, based on these comps and the number I give you, how do you get your number? And a lot of times they're like, well, you're a professional. And I'm like, okay, well, I'm glad you trust me. And I try to go from there. And I point out that they just said they trusted me.
That's perfect. That's perfect. Good job. You mirrored back some of the things they said, but you set yourself up as positioning as a professional, right? Good job. Go ahead.
Yeah, when they have a number in mind, I'll usually say, well, the data says the home is worth this much, not me, because they trust my professional experience, because they've invited me for the interview, but I will tell them the data says this.
That's perfect. And I almost always use this language, and you're welcome to tell me, Jen, you shouldn't say that. But I always say, I do exactly what an appraiser does on this CMA. He compares like properties, relevant properties that are close, and their square footage, their size of lot, those type of things. So pretty much these are the exact same comps the appraiser's probably going to pull, because I've done enough research to find those. So if you want to list higher than that, guess what? What problem will have? The appraisal. So do you guys prep them for that appraisal up front? I do. You have to educate what road bumps we might hit that might make you look bad. Okay, so that appraisal may come in super low. So guess what happens then, Mr. Seller? You're gonna have to come down on your price, most likely. Okay, something like that. Okay, so good job. Good way to handle those objections. Okay, so here's something that this course that I took, he says, I charge a 7% marketing fee. As you can see from everything we've covered here, we're far superior on the marketing side. Now, to be clear with you, I can reduce the commission. I have no problem doing that. And this goes into what Amy did the other day. But just going to do that, sorry, I have no problem doing that, but I'm just gonna do what all other agents do. I'll take out all the marketing. I won't do any direct mail. I'll take out all the target marketing. I'll be just like a commodity agent. Obviously, it's going to be in your best interest to go with a full service brokerage like this. If you're worried about a fee, we can negotiate some of the things that I'm doing and to bring that down to a lower number. I think ultimately you're going to net a lot lower from the sale of your home, but I'm open to that if you don't want a full service commission. Do you see that? Like you could net less if I don't use my marketing. So here's something else we have in the back end that everyone can use. It's what you tried to put together the other day, Amy. I call it the 3-2-1. Here's what you get for 3%. Here's what you get for 2%. And here's what you get for, sorry, 1.5. I would never go below 1.5, but because people ask, will you do 1? No, there's no way
When
I'll
you
do
say
it.
those numbers, you mean seller side.
Yeah, this is the list side. Yeah. So here's what you get for my marketing fee. Okay. And so, but you can explain to them, essentially, this is what we're taking out. You won't get the drone video. You won't get showing time on coordination on all your showings. You won't get this, you won't get that, whatever it is, right? So you're welcome to use this. These are in the back as well. Yeah.
So when you're using this as a visual, you're just assuming the VAC is going to be 3%. And
So-
then you're just talking list.
I don't assume that at all. I always tell them, you're gonna wanna market, the other marketing fee is for the other brokerage that brings the buyer, okay? So you're gonna wanna put a great marketing fee out there. Have you thought about what you wanna do? And I let them kind of come up with it and they're like, well, we don't wanna pay that fee. Well, okay, so we can't put it on the MLS then. So you're just shot your foot because we have to offer a marketing fee. So I would suggest that you offer 3% or no less than 2.5. And that's all I say, because there'll be people that'll say, well, let's just do 1. No. You can't do that in this market. Not only will it make me look bad, but it'll make you look bad. So explain why that realtor deserves commission. Explain it to them. Yeah. Did you have?
I saw a listing up in Salt Lake that it says, in the agent remarks, the owner will only let me, or is only willing to pay a 1% VAC.
Yeah.
I apologize up front as an agent. And
Yeah.
basically and the way I found out about it is the owner told me. He's like,
Well,
"Yeah, you put this up on
really
the
soon, something is changing on the MLS. That's going to be great. We are going to see what the listing marketing fee is as well as the VAC. So if someone gets a 4% and does a 3 on theirs and a 1 on the buy side, you'll know. And you can call that agent and say, really, we're in this rowboat together and we're rowing to the same direction. We're going to get there.
Yeah.
Okay. But so I'm excited about that. That's coming soon because I do feel like there's a few people that are taking more on the list side than the buy side, which I think is so awful. Be fair, you guys. If I only got a 4%, you better believe I do a 2 and a 2. I would never do more for me. Yeah.
There are brokerages that that's their business.
Yeah.
Plan.
However, what I do want you to wrap around your head, and this is, I've had sellers like that. They're like, it wasn't like a 1%, but I won't do more than like 2 or 2.5. And the agents that complain to me, it's like, listen, I got a for sale by owner. They were not going to use any realtors. I just negotiated you 2.5. Okay. You have to look at it that way. You could have got 0, you're getting 2.5. So once you kind of explain that to them, it's like, calm down. You can go ahead and submit it. I'll, if you want to ask for more, I'll send it to them. But right now they're pretty dead set on paying 2.5 or whatever it is. Yeah. You have something now? Okay. Yeah.
I've also seen a EAC $5,000
Mhm.
$600,000 house.
Mhm.
And no negotiation.
Yeah. It's super hard in this market. It's a seller's market. They know they can get away with a lot, right? I think that's when we have to enforce our buyer brokers a lot more. And that's the really hard part for all of us, right? However, if you're so concerned about it, go after your buyer for it. Okay. It sucks, but it's part of the business. Okay. So overcoming objections, my family members in the business, how would you overcome that?
That's a tough one when it's family.
Well, but you have to be ready for this. So yeah, Amy.
I came across, well, I didn't come across this one, and pretty much I just say, oh, that's great, have they been in business for very long? Have you ever used them before? Like, get information about them. Oh, what's their name? Sure, okay. And I'm like, I'm surprised you guys are so close that you're letting them know your financial information.
Sure, that's a great.
Good one.
I point out the things that maybe they need to consider.
Perfect.
I don't say anything bad about them, and I'm not like, well, I'm sure I'm better.
For sure, for sure, for sure. But creep in their head the things that are already there. I'm telling you, there's already fears when they're using a family member. So exploit those and say something like, well, I hope that, sometimes that ruins relationships in family. Sometimes that, you start sharing information that you didn't want to share with your sister-in-law. So, how can I show you that I'd be the best realtor for you? Okay, but exploit some of those fears they already have in there. Okay, so how about, we heard we could list for $1,000 flat fee. How would you overcome that?
Sure, you can at a different brokerage, but here's what I'm bringing you that is gonna get you a higher netted offer.
Okay, yeah, absolutely. I would never ask what the brokerage is, but I know in my mind who they are. And I would say, have they given you a list of the things, their marketing that they're gonna do for you? Are they gonna be there when you get multiple offers? Are they going to walk you through 25 offers and which one's the best one for you? Or are they just throw it on the MLS kind of company? Yeah.
Sorry to keep talking,
No, this is good.
but when they start talking about flat fees and what I think of them, I tell them, I just lost my train of thought. I'm so sorry. I just kind of say, how did you find out about that brokerage? And a lot of times they'll say, oh, I saw a billboard.
Sure.
Or, oh, I saw a commercial. And I said, that's great. So you got it through marketing.
Yeah.
How much are they paying for your marketing?
Sure.
And they kind of stop and they
That's
think
a
about
really good way to talk about that. Good for
Just
you, Amy.
ask them what are they gonna pay for your marketing?
Sure.
Because they're,
Because billboards aren't cheap.
The best example of that is the Rocket Mortgage commercial.
Sure.
I like to call them limited service.
Yeah.
Brokerages, because everyone loves a discount. So
For
I
sure.
don't call them discount
Sure.
brokerages, but I call them limited services.
Yeah, that's a really
And
good
that they
one.
need to realize they're not getting the same level or the same things.
I love that. Yeah, you have to focus on, and then go back to that. Are these things important to you? Or is this, you'd like to see 30 plus 4G professional photos on the MLS? You'd like to see just listed flyers and immediate postcards out to your neighborhood? You like to see those, right? Or do you really just want $1,000 for someone to put a sign in the yard? So yeah, explain to them what they're getting and talk to them about limited services. What about, we think our home is worth more? In this market, we can always just say, listen, if your home is worth more, the buyers are so hungry to get a home, there's a good chance you're going to get a lot more than this. However, the reason I would be pricing it where it's at is so that you don't get disappointed when the appraisal comes in. Because I don't want you to come back to me and go, oh my gosh, now I have to discount $40,000 that I didn't think I'd have to. Because these buyers are going to walk and just say, not a lot of buyers are willing to pay over right now. I mean, there's some are, but not to some, some can't. So you have to have that conversation with them. What about, we want to think about it, because that's a polite no. What do you say?
What is there to think about?
Yeah, tell me what you need to think about, because I have all my stuff here right now, so I want to make sure I go through it with you. Does that make sense? What do you need to think about? And call them out on it, because then they get uncomfortable. Well, I don't know. Well, I mean, I'm happy to go through it with you again if you need me to. You know what I mean? I'm here. You got my time right now, so let me go through it with you. Yeah.
And while we're on that, when they say, well, we already have appointments to interview those other realtors. And I just say, well, if you want to see what they have, I respect that. But if you do want to go ahead with me, just give me their names. I will call them and cancel your appointments. And
Sure.
let them know that we would love to work with them and break.
Well, that's the hard close. That's the very last part. And that's a really good hard close. Another agent quoted as a higher price or a lower commission. Okay, remember, we already talked about that, Mr. Seller. We went through overpricing your house. We went through the lower commission. So most likely they would never say that after you've already done the education piece. That's why that's a crucial part of your listing presentation. And then the very last part is the hard close, like Amy just said. The point here is to get the listing signed. So how do you do a hard close at the very end? Okay, Mr. Seller, we've gone through everything that you need to sell your home. Are you ready to sign today and get this up and running? Because I can order. I called my photographer before here. He could be here on Tuesday to get photographers done. I called my sign installer guy. He could get that in the yard tonight. You ready to go? If you give them all I've already got it set up. What's their reason to say no? Okay, but if they do, takes 5 no's to get a yes. So keep trying, don't quit. You don't want to leave and not get that listing, right? Because guess what? Some sleazeball realtor is going to come in and get that listing right after you. So I am not a hard sell person, but you have to have a critical conversation in that moment. So tell me what it is that makes you not want to list right now. Explain to me what I'm missing here. Because if I made a mistake, I want to go through that with you. If I forgot something, I want to go through that with you. What is it? Keep pushing, keep pushing, keep pushing. Let's get it signed right now. Here's my paperwork. It's all ready for you. I've filled it all out. Just initial at the very bottom. You see that? I want you to be able to have that hard close in a way that's comfortable for you, okay? Because obviously, again, I'm not like, you're gonna list with me today. Like, that's super hard. Like, who says that, right? But just a gentle, like, hey, you ready to go? I've shown you everything of why listing with me would be the right place for you.
I think a lot of us need to work on the harder
For sure.
close. I went to a training and it was a long time Salt Lake agent, Lee Stern. And she brings her sign up to the front door. And when they answer the door, they're like, hi, okay, I'm just gonna set this right here and we can.
I love that.
We can put it in when we're done.
Yeah.
And I'm like,
I love that.
one of these days I'm gonna do that.
For sure, for sure.
Get away with that.
Lee can get away with it.
I think I could do.
Okay, you go do it.
You could do that, Amy.
Marilyn could do
Will you
that.
let us know if it works?
I'll let you know.
I also use the law of reciprocity. I show up with a gift. I always bring like a candle warmer and say, thank you so much for meeting with me. Here's a candle warmer. Because when you do have your house on the market, like right now, I don't think your house smells bad at all, but a really pleasant smell makes people want to stay. Does that make sense? So I show up with a gift and there's that law of reciprocity, like, oh, she's so nice. I feel like I owe her. Let me just sign the listing presentation, right? So always lean on things like that, but I love that suggestive, like, okay, we're here to list your house. Let's get it going, right?
It's worked for 30 years.
I'm sure it
Someone
has.
should try it.
Absolutely.
No, she's
Can't
a
put
little
aside
bit
24 hours
feisty.
before
She's
it's
so
list, right?
Yeah, 24 hours. So you'd have to make sure that you have your photos lined up, which you could. I call my guy and say, what do you have open this week? So I could say, hey, he could be here today at 2 or 4. Which one works for you to get your photos done right now?
But sometimes
And-
you don't think that they're photo ready.
Well, that's true. That's true. And then you just say, how quickly could you be photo ready, right? But you want to make sure that they know that you are serious. You're serious about taking this listing and giving them your value. But I always use this language too. Listen, you don't know me from Adam. So when you sign this contract, I'm sure there's all sorts of fears that are coming up that you're going, she could be over promising and then totally under delivering. So I always just say, I give them the easy out clause. If you don't like me and you think I've done something wrong, all I ask is that you give me 24 hours to correct it. And if I haven't corrected it, I'll let you out of this listing. Does that sound okay? Do you see how easy that puts the steering wheel in their hands? So these are the languages, these are the things you want to say to calm them, to go, I am your advocate. I promise you won't regret that I'm going to be your realtor. You won't regret it, I promise you. Because I have this seller services guarantee that guarantees all these things. And if you guys don't know what's on here, it's in the back. I want you to read it. Competitive market analysis. If I have a listing in a tough market, and we've gone through this on my last class, but every 30 days I update the CMA. Okay, here's a new CMA. This is the houses that sold. Our action team, our promotion to other brokers, our promotion within our 400 agents at Presidio. We put it on the multiple listing service. We do direct marketing. If you're not going to guarantee this, don't show this to them. Okay. But if you think you can, you'll get the listing. Okay. So go above and beyond, you guys, in this market. There's so much competition. We have all the resources for you here to be successful. I want every one of you to nail your listing appointment next time you go. Okay. If you have any questions or need anything, please reach out to me or anybody else on our team. We are all happy to help. I'm sure even all the agents in this room would help each one of you. So thank you for coming today. Have a good rest of your week, everybody.
That was so good. That was good information.